Hey, to all the entrepreneurs and future founders here in the Seleucia community. You've probably heard a million times that business is war, right? That you have to outsmart, outmaneuver, and just crush the competition. But what if I told you the only real way to win is to stop competing altogether? Let's talk about how to find those clear, open waters where you're the only ship on the sea.
So let's kick things off with a real mind bender from Peter Thiel, the co-founder of PayPal. He asks every single person he considers investing in this question: what important truth do very few people agree with you on? Now, this isn't just a clever riddle, it's a hunt for a secret, because the most valuable, world-changing companies are built on truths that almost everyone else initially thought were crazy. Just tuck that question away in your mind as we go through this.
All right, section 1. Let's dive into the red ocean. Because, let's be honest, this is where most businesses live. It's a constant, bloody battle for survival.
Okay, so here's the fundamental choice every single business faces. On one side, you have the red ocean. This is business as usual. You're trying to beat the competition, you're fighting over the same pool of existing customers, and you're always making these painful trade-offs between offering more value or lowering your cost. It's a total Shark Tank. But on the other side, you have the blue ocean. In the blue ocean, you make competition completely irrelevant because you're creating brand new demand. You're not just fighting for a bigger piece of the pie, you're baking a whole new pie that no one's ever tasted before.
I mean, really think about that for a second. In a red ocean, every single day is about outmaneuvering your rivals. You're cutting prices, you're desperately adding new features, you're shouting louder in your marketing, but you're all just fighting over the same people. It is a zero-sum game. For you to win, somebody else has to lose. This is the definition of a saturated market, and honestly, it's a recipe for burnout and shrinking profits.
So how do you escape? Well, you don't try to swim faster than the sharks. That's a losing battle. You find a new ocean. And this is where we make that critical shift from competing to creating. Peter Thiel just nails it with this quote. He says, "All happy companies are different. They're not just a little bit better than their rivals. They are fundamentally different. They've found and solved the unique problem so effectively that they basically become a monopoly in their own little world." Think about Google. It isn't just a better search engine. For most of us, it is the search engine. The goal isn't to be the best in an existing category. It's to be the only one in a new category that you invented.
And this brings us to another killer concept from Thiel, the two types of progress. First, there's horizontal progress. This is going from 1 to n. It's taking something that already works and just making more copies of it. Think of another fast food chain that's pretty much like all the others. But vertical progress, that's different. That's going from 0 to 1. It's creating something radically new. It's the difference between building another car and inventing the very first airplane. Blue oceans are born from vertical progress. Okay. This all sounds great in theory, right? But how do you actually do it? How do you chart a course from those bloody red waters to the clear, beautiful blue? Let's get practical. Here is your map. It comes from the brilliant book Blue Ocean Strategy, and it's called the 4 Actions Framework. Instead of just trying to match what your competitors are doing, it challenges you to ask 4 really powerful questions. First, what factors that your industry takes for granted can you completely eliminate? Second, what factors can be reduced well below the industry standard? Third, what factors should be raised way above the industry standard? And the big one, what can you create that the industry has never, ever offered before? Let's look at this framework in action with a perfect example, Cirque du Soleil. They didn't try to build a better, cheaper circus. They completely reinvented the idea of a circus. What do? They eliminated the most expensive parts, the animal acts and the star performers. They reduced the focus on simple slapstick humor. But then, they raised the production value to the level of a high-end Broadway show, and they created a totally new form of entertainment that blended circus arts with theater. And boom! Suddenly, they were attracting a whole new audience of adults who were happy to pay a premium price. They didn't compete with the old circus. They made it irrelevant. Now, creating a whole new market can feel, well, daunting. So the secret is to start small. Peter Thiel gives the same advice: don't try to take on a massive market on day one. Instead, find a tiny, super specific micro niche that you can completely, utterly dominate. Become the undisputed king of a very small hill first. PayPal didn't start by trying to replace all money. They started by focusing only on power sellers on eBay. Once you own that niche, then you can strategically expand outward. So, these strategies are timeless. They really are. But the ocean itself is changing right under our feet. The blue oceans of today are increasingly digital, and they're being navigated by a completely new generation of customers.
The marketing guru Philip Kotler says we now have to design everything for what he calls phygital natives. That's Gen Z and Gen Alpha. For them, there is no boundary between the physical and the digital worlds. It's all just one reality. They will scroll right past your polished, perfect ads to find raw, authentic content. They don't just want to buy stuff. They want to be part of immersive experiences. And their attention span is absolutely ruthless. If you're not instantly relevant, you're invisible.
And this is exactly why this all matters so much right now. Reaching these phygital natives requires a totally new approach. Old school digital marketing just isn't going to cut it. Kotler calls this new strategy meta marketing. It's all about creating seamless, immersive experiences that blend the real world with the digital one. Think augmented reality apps that let you try on clothes or gamification inside a retail store.
And your ability to thrive in these new digital oceans, to actually do all this cool stuff, it really depends on what we call your digital maturity. Now, this isn't just about having a website or posting on social media. No, it's about how deeply you can weave digital tools into the very fabric of your business to create entirely new value, new experiences, and new business models that this new generation will actually care about.
So, the journey from the red to the blue ocean, it begins with a fundamental shift in your mindset, and it requires an honest look at where you are right now. Let's reframe this for a moment. You are not just another competitor fighting for scraps. You are a potential creator. You're a pioneer, charting new territory. And like any great explorer, your first step isn't to just sail blindly into the unknown. It's to understand your own ship, your strengths, your weaknesses, and your readiness for the voyage ahead. And every explorer's journey begins by knowing their exact starting point on the map. Before you can chart a course to a blue ocean, you have to understand your own ship. That's exactly why Solutia provides a free tool to the community so you can measure your own digital maturity. Think of it as your compass, a simple, powerful way to see how ready you are for the voyage into this new digital world. And that brings us right back to where we started. The next time you're thinking about your business, I want you to stop asking, how can I beat my competition? Instead, I want you to ask Thiel's ultimate question. What valuable business is nobody building? Because the answer to that question isn't in the crowded red ocean. It's out there, waiting for you in the clear blue open water. Now go find it.